Hello and welcome to Raider Reach. This is the podcast where we reach out to our school community and beyond to share the inspiring story of our Raiders. From the classrooms to the extracurriculars, we'll explore the people, events, and the moments that make our district truly unique. Thank you for joining us, and let's dive on in and tell our Raiders story. My name is Megan Hogg, and I'm the District Director of Communication and Community Partnerships. And all that is a lot of words to basically say that I do a lot of internal and external communication in our district. And part of that is this podcast. It's our first official podcast from our district. We have another one that's going to be a video podcast that's going to be released super soon. I'm sure, hopefully you'll be seeing that on our social media. But it's going to be more of a resource for parents, and it's going to be a monthly thing. So we're really excited about that. It's called Better Together. So you can also check that out on our podcast channels. But today, I am so excited about our guests, plural, that we have here today. They are way more creative than me, way more talented than me in those areas, but I think they probably have a really cool story in their journey and how they see education every day is different than maybe the typical classroom teacher, but they also share a lot of things with them too. So I'm excited to welcome our district art teachers. We have Miss Jonan Welborn from primary school. Hello.
Hello.
We have Miss Brittni Morris from the intermediate. Hello.
Hi.
And Miss Paula Taylor from the middle school. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good. Hey, and I know we're just going to talk about the elephant in the room here. Miss Paula Taylor is retiring. We're all really upset about it and not okay, but we're excited about her next venture that she has and being more present for her family. But she's retiring in December. So you were just telling us that you have how many more work days left?
13.
And that's at the time that we're recording this episode. So it'll probably be one less than that whenever this airs. But that's crazy to think about. And so let's just start with you, Paula, because we're already talking to you about your journey. How many years have you been in education?
27.
Okay.
25 at the middle school. Or, well, in Lumberton.
In Lumberton.
Yes.
So 27 years, 25 of those in Lumberton. So tell us a little bit about that journey. How did you get to become a teacher?
Well, I was the district director for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, and we went to our regional conference in Colorado, and I was in charge of a presentation, and I made it a hands-on presentation, and my Houston boss asked me, "Why are you not a teacher?" It went over really well, and the big boss was even in on he walked in to see our presentation, and so I made them look good, I guess, but she asked me why I was not a teacher, so that got me to thinking, and so I went back to school and already had a degree, but went back and finished the certification part.
That's awesome. I didn't know that you were involved in the MDA Association. Well, I mean, that's a really cool, unique story that got you started in education. And you are a graduate from Lumberton, right?
Yes.
And we're Raiderette. We've talked about this before.
Yes.
Yeah. So you started here in Lumberton at the middle school, or were you at a different campus?
The middle.
Okay, but you weren't teaching art. What were you teaching then?
No. I've taught reading, ELA, journalism, yearbook, dance, art, and credit recovery at the high school.
Oh, okay. So when you were at the high school, was that a small stint when you were doing Raiderettes over here too, or was that a different time?
There about 6 or 7 years.
Okay,
all
I didn't
together.
realize that either. Look at that. I'm learning new things about you all the time, and I feel like we talked about all this before, but I love that. That's one thing I love about doing this podcast as well, is I get to learn a lot of new things too. So that's awesome. And so who knows how many students you've had, because y'all being electives, sometimes your classes aren't a full year, and so you get twice the number of students or 4 times the number of students if it's a different kind of rotation. And you have had the opportunity to impact lots of kids, which has been great, I'm sure.
Yes.
Do you ever see them in public and they talk to you?
I do, and it's really rewarding because we lose track of them after they leave us, and it seems like the next time I see them, they're either driving or working somewhere, and you run into them, and it's really nice to catch up.
Yeah, and I always feel terrible if I don't remember their names,
Mm-hmm.
but I tell them all the time, there's only one of us, but tons of y'all, and one year that we had you, and I do recognize you and I do remember you, but you might have to remind me of your name and then it all clicks, you know. But so I'm just saying, if you ever see a teacher in public, don't feel bad. It's not that you were forgettable. It's just that they've taught a lot of people and we're getting older every year. So give us some grace. Okay, so let's hear from Jonan Welborn at the primary school. That's first and second grade, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Now it is. You have to think.
Yes.
It used to be third grade,
Yes.
and yeah. So tell us a little bit about your educational journey.
I graduated from McNeese State University with a BA in art,
Okay.
and I added art education.
Okay.
I taught a special education class, and then we moved to Beaumont. I taught that for a year and a half, and because we came in the middle of the year. But then I ended up staying home with our daughter.
Okay.
When she started kindergarten, I started volunteering, then I started substituting. And one day when I was substituting in the workroom at the primary school, they started saying, I think we're getting an art teacher position the next year. So I went down to the office immediately and talked to I think it was Miss Berry at the time, and talked to her, and then she interviewed me and I got the position. So for me, it was exciting because I got to start the whole program there.
Yeah, and you said it started off part-time,
Yes.
and then the next year it became full-time.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I love that. And you said how many classrooms have you been in that campus?
I think it's 7 moves, but it could be just 6. But back in the
That's-
original
That's
room
crazy.
that I
Of
started
course,
in.
yes,
So
love that. Love how we're giving a little bit of
it has to have
sprinkling
a
the
sink,
6, 7.
so
and-
you're kind of
yeah,
limited.
that's
but
right.
they found
Yeah,
a way.
you do need to have a sink.
Yes,
That is
not
essential
the
to the art
bathroom.
teacher. Yes. That and the science labs.
Yes.
You have to have a sink. Yes, for sure. Okay, awesome. Well, Brittni, tell us a little bit about your educational journey. Brittni's the art teacher at Lumberton Intermediate, which is 4th, 4th, and 5th now.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us a little about your journey.
Well, I actually started out working as a hairstylist,
Okay.
and whenever my little boy Charlie, he's in 7th grade here now, whenever he was close to being born, I decided I don't want to work. I want to be home with him. And once he was here, everything was all about being mom, and that's kind of how I decided. He was 6 months old whenever I finished my bachelor's degree and finished my teacher certification. When he started kindergarten, I went to work, and I applied for 13 jobs in Lumberton back whenever it was hard to get a job as a teacher. I interviewed for several and got told I didn't have any experience. They loved my personality. Please come back whenever I have experience. I started out working at Vider Middle School teaching 5th grade social studies because my aunt was in administration there, and I was able to get a job. I loved it there, but my family's here. I live here. This is where we go to church, do sports, do all of our things. And so I showed up at the job fair at the school the very next spring with a pink glitter folder with my resume, and I introduced myself to Miss Waldrop at the primary school, and I said, I really want a job at your campus. And here we are. I was at the primary school for 3 years.
You taught first grade?
First grade.
That's right.
And it was just math. They were
yeah.
They had switch classes whenever
Okay.
I was there. So it was, and science and social studies.
Yeah, but math was the main thing.
Kind of the main core
right.
subject.
And then you use that in
Yes.
science and okay.
Well, so I had a partner teacher there. I had 3 different ones all 3 years that I was there.
Great experience.
They just kept leaving me. But the intermediate school, Miss Cleveland, she decided to retire in July. She had some family things going on, and it was last minute. I called Mr. Morgan on the phone, got his number from Lori Morgan, who's my AP now, and said, you don't know me, but I really think you should hire me as your art teacher. Got permission from Miss Waldrop, went in for an interview, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and she's so talented too. She does window painting and everything. I would never be able to, you would not want me to paint your windows. Even like the chalk you do on when you're a senior, you're like senior, whatever, just married. That's pushing it, but so you'd already been doing things like that, crafty things.
Yes, and so it was actually my partner teacher that year. She knew that I make wooden holiday yard art as well. And she knew that I did all of these things in my own personal life, and she said, I just really think this would be such a good fit for you, and you would really enjoy the job. And so,
Well, and bless your heart, because that was the year the new campus opened when they moved back. They moved over to the old middle school,
yes.
and she had a really great situation over there. I'm saying that facetiously because, bless her heart, it was the old choir room, but they had taken out the risers and it wasn't quite complete yet, and so you had to give a lot of patience and grace until all that was finished, and just that transition time with figuring out the safety aspects of with the doors and kids coming and going and whatever else. It's just because it was no longer a middle school campus, and some of the younger kids, they don't have that freedom to just walk to the other building and by themselves, and how it had been when it was a middle school campus. So my hat went off to you when you were going through that part, because I felt bad for you. But now you have a really good setup, and
I have my own building.
Yeah.
I'm the only classroom that's not connected to the main building.
Is there a bathroom in there?
There's a bathroom.
Wow.
I have an office. I have an attic space.
Yeah,
so
you do
I call
have
it
that
my
attic
little
space.
art apartment.
That's so cool. And so you've been able to do some really cool things too. Okay, so here's my first question, and you guys can just jump in and tag team or however you want to do that. Some of you have already kind of answered this. What inspired you to become an art teacher? Is that something that you really enjoyed growing up, Miss Welborn?
I loved it. That's all I did. I didn't play any kind of sports.
Okay.
I took private art lessons since elementary school.
Oh, really? That's
'Cause
awesome.
we didn't have art until middle school.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Miss Taylor? What inspired you to become an art teacher?
I've always loved art as well, and I took classes in college, got the minor, and I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and teach reading and ELA, and then I'll come back someday to do the art. But someday turns into years and years or never.
Mm-hmm.
So I just up and decided one year I'm going to do it. Right after I taught credit recovery, I said now's the time, or it's never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and took the finished the certification for art, and the rest is history.
Awesome. When you kind of told how Brittni, how you became how art teaching became a part of your journey there. So let's talk about in your classroom. How do you spark creativity in your students, especially those that would be like me and they don't consider themselves naturally artistic? I want to start with you, Jonan, because you are the one that sees the youngest kids. And let's just say this. We don't have a dedicated art teacher at the early childhood school. Miss Fountain, I talked to her about it. She said that they mainly just put it in their classrooms, and they kind of have art stations within their curriculum in the kindergarten curriculum. So that's just a side note. We know it's not you're not the youngest in the district. You don't teach the youngest students in the district, but you do have the youngest art classes. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, do you start seeing artistic ability at that age?
I keep seeing more and more,
Really?
actually. Natural talent.
Huh.
And I try to get them interested in art on the very first day. So in case there's a student that may think, oh, this is not for me. And I have a mystery story that I tell first grade, and a mystery story that I tell second grade. They don't know what it's going to be, and they're drawing with me. And it ends up being a dog for first grade, and it ends up being a bird for second grade. And so when they see they've drawn something on that very first day, I feel like they feel very confident the next time
That's
they come.
cool.
Yes.
I love that. Okay, what about you, Brittni? What are some ways that you love to spark that creativity in students, especially those kids they come in and they're like, well, I'm not really good at art. Do you hear that?
Sometimes, but especially now that I've been there, this year my 5th graders are the first group that's been with me the whole way through.
This is your 3rd year doing art.
This is
right?
my 3rd year in
Okay.
art. No, this is my 4th year in art.
Oh, you're right.
This
it
is
your
my 4th year in art.
You
But
didn't
the
have third
first
grade
year
the
I had
first
4th
year.
and 5th
Yes.
only.
Okay.
I didn't have 3rd grade.
That's
so
right.
this is my first group that's been with me for all 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like they're very comfortable when they come to the art room, and I haven't really dealt with that with the 5th graders this year. I did at first whenever I went. But something that I do with kids, especially because I give them guidelines, but I also give them a lot of freedom within that project, and I try to incorporate some kind of a read aloud, or like I do a project with 3rd grade called Rowdy Root Veggies, and it's these root vegetables that you can see growing underground that are doing things, lifting weights, listening to music, singing, sleeping. And we actually watch videos and learn about how root vegetables are farmed, and they see some kind of like real life examples of their subject matter, and I feel like that just kind of helps to inspire them whenever they see examples of it. So we do videos or read alouds that go along with what we're creating, and I think that helps them to kind of, you know, give them a little bit of guidance in their creations.
Okay, that's awesome, and it gives them more confidence if they feel like they're not skilled
Right.
in those areas. So, Paula, in middle school, because they're older, do they kind of come with you thinking I'm good or I'm not good at art?
Both.
And then you
Yes.
get some wild cards still
Yes, for
of
sure.
kids who thought they weren't good at art, and you see some potential in them.
Oh yes, that never. I have all the gamut, the whole spectrum. From never really picked up a pencil and done anything with art, they're just trying it, to students who could practically be professional and have won contests. And I mean, you look at their sketchbook that they bring with them, and it's just insanely amazing. But I try to build their self-esteem, just like these two ladies do. I continue that because, you know, they are so self-conscious sometimes in middle school. So I try to build that self-esteem and let them know that everyone's an artist, because they will come in the first day and say, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at art, you know, and I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, everyone's an artist, and you can do this. And if you just do the techniques that I'm asking you to try, then you'll have results and you'll feel good about it. And so they calm down and realize that they're not competing with anyone else. They're trying their best. We're building a work ethic, following directions, and then they're astonished at the results that they get from these basic principles, you know,
Yeah.
and it builds their self-esteem.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so let's talk about the different mediums that you guys get to teach. And I don't know how y'all operate these in y'all's different curriculums because y'all are different ages, but what's your favorite medium to teach, Jonan?
I love watercolors. They're
Is
They
that on
feel
your supply list?
very
Okay.
well. We have.
Like they
We don't.
can do that in the classroom? If
They
do?
may
Okay.
have done the little strips of
Yeah, okay.
watercolors, but I order watercolors,
Uh-huh.
and then they just can be very successful with that
Okay.
at that age.
Yeah, that's a good way to start and introduce it. Yeah. What about you, Brittni?
So I feel like this is where most people would expect me to be like, I love clay and I love the kiln that is in our room, but actually that kiln room is packed up as a storage room now. It just doesn't work with our schedule, unfortunately, this year. The kids do love it, but I enjoy painting as well because it's something that I really do a lot of in my own personal life, and I feel like I can really help teach the kids how to hold a paintbrush, we practice like tinting and shading to make our own color palettes, and we, you know, go a little bit further with the watercolors and talk about how much water's on your brush. You can change the opacity of the paint and all of those things. So I really, really enjoy working with paint with the kids.
Yeah, that's cool. What about you, Paula?
The kiln-fired clay.
So that's good. They're not being able to do it yet with your
Right.
schedule now. In middle school, they are, and I'll tell you, when you didn't have your kiln there for a while, because when we moved over
She's
here,
like, I'll
it
take
was
that kiln.
yeah. When we moved over to the intermediate, the old intermediate, you had a bigger kiln, and so that was a
It
whole
got torn
thing.
down. It
Well-
was in the part of the school that was demolished.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Oh, your old kiln did,
The old kiln was bigger.
but you had to get a new one.
and
No?
had to get it.
Yeah,
Yes,
you did get a new one.
Yes. So
Okay.
the old one was new and this one was new.
Yeah,
So they replaced.
but they couldn't move the old
They
one.
could
couldn't
not
move
move
it.
the
It's
old
so
one.
Yeah.
big. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it was.
They couldn't get it into the building I'm currently in
Yeah,
now.
because it's so huge.
Right.
And she actually spent multiple days of her own time. This is not during in-service or anything like that. So much time teaching me how to use the clay, how to teach kids to use the clay. Like, I had done clay projects before, but not on a level to teach them.
Mm-hmm.
And she spent so much time, and she was so patient. And I called her, I videoed her, I mean, all the things. She just has been wonderful to me. So.
Oh, I love that. Y'all are a resource for each other. That's great.
Yep.
Okay, so a memorable project your students have created this year, or if you don't want to say maybe from August to now, because it's kind of been a short stint right so far, what is your favorite project that you create each year? You want to start?
First grade, we do watercolor fish,
Mm-hmm.
but we did chickens this year, and it's been a fan favorite with everybody.
Oh.
And then second grade, we've started doing castles. And at the end of your castle, you can add sparkle yellow. And
Oh,
so, yes,
that's really a big
yes,
deal.
yes.
Okay.
Sparkle.
That's awesome.
Sparkle paint. Yes.
Sparkle paint. That's great. All right, Brittni, what about you?
Well, I have to say my homecoming projects.
Yes.
Last year we had the giant mum that we named Big Blue, and
Yeah.
it was so fun and it was amazing. And this year homecoming was a lot sooner, and we didn't
Yes.
have enough time because we spent almost 2 months painting all of the ribbons and things for the mum last year. So this year I decided I'm just going to keep it with the theme of homecoming, and it was Raiders in Paradise. So we called it the Raider Family, and we made a giant lei necklace. But
That
I
was
really
good.
I loved it because the kids see it, and it's part of our community when it goes to the football stadium and the game, and they know, like, that came
pride
from
in
my
that.
school. I made that. And like, it's just so fun because every single student that's a part of the intermediate school is part of that project, and it comes together to make one giant piece of art. So,
Oh, yeah.
love
That's
that.
awesome. That's awesome. Paula, what about you?
Well, besides the kiln-fired clay, because they make so many different things, I love it, the free choice. With the advanced kids, I do light painting with photography, which you got to see.
Yep.
It's just something new and different, because with the advanced students, they're already so experienced with different things. They do a lot of it at home, like you were talking about, and you were talking about they've been doing this since they were little. And so it's just something new that I can introduce to them that they haven't either seen or realized that they have seen, and how to accomplish that.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
That's cool. Yeah, no, that is a really cool lesson.
Super cool.
And they really get into that one.
They do.
They do. I love that. Okay, so how do you balance teaching those foundational skills while also giving students room to explore? I feel like I would be so lost as a primary school art teacher. That seems like so overwhelming. You have so many, things and just different materials, I guess. But I guess you just focus on one thing at a time. Really, you have to keep it simple sometimes.
Yes, and I give them Sharpies usually on the very first day.
Oh, that is very brave. You
But
do-
we just talk about it being a privilege, and they
Yeah.
all rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
It's awesome, but that also gives them a nice little outline so that they can
Yeah.
add their color to it or whatever they want to do. And I feel like that's a high success.
When they
tool
come
they
to you
can
as a
use.
first grader because they've never had art class before, do they think that's so cool that all that you do in there is art?
Yes, and so the cutest quote this year that a teacher told me was on the very first day, they asked a first grade teacher, her class asked them, "Are we going to bring our paint with us?" Because they have the strips of paint. And I was like, "Oh, please, not on the very first day." But it was very cute because
Yeah.
they were very excited.
Very excited about
Yes.
it. Yeah. Okay. What about you, Brittni? What do you love doing to balance those skills while giving them room to explore?
So whenever I took this job and it was just me, I was used to having a team of people to bounce ideas off of, and I'm kind of in between them. I'm a rotation class. I see all of the students in the school, but we also have some older kids, and so I not only reached out to Paula, but Jonan as well, and she's the one that kind of helped me with, like, hey, this is where you're going to get your highest success rates. This is, how you can organize having 46 classes rotate through your classroom. And so they've both been amazing. I just want to make sure everyone knows how amazing they are. But so what I kind of landed on is I go through the 7 elements of art all year, and it really gives me a lot of room to experiment with different mediums and different techniques while I'm teaching kids the basic building blocks of art. And so that's kind of our focus at the intermediate
And the
school.
ones that want to extend it a little bit more, it allows for them to maybe extend it to be the ones that want to go a little above and beyond because they're maybe naturally a little bit more artistic than others. It allows them to do those kind of things. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Paula, it's cool because at middle school you have levels. So you teach 6th grade, 7th, and 8th grade, but how are those classes structured?
We have Art 1, 2, 3, and then Advanced Art.
Okay.
So Art 1 is 6th grade, Art 2 is 7th grade, Art 3 is regular 8th grade. That is all year this year. And then Advanced is only 8th grade, and it's all year as well.
And they have to kind of apply to be in that, right? Or
Yes.
You have to give approval or
Yes,
permission to be in
they
the advanced
sign
class.
up, and then, yes.
Okay.
But as far as, like, I like to give a lot of creative leeway as well so they can branch out and shine and make it their own and take, that creative control over it. So, for example, if I'm teaching them some hand building techniques for clay, like a pinch pot, instead of just leaving it a tiny little bowl, we take it a step further, and now it's like a tradition to do, for 7th grade, to do their pinch pot fish. So we turn the pinch pot on its side, and then I give them certain parameters. They have to have some sort of fin, eyes, and pattern to it. So they get to decide how to accomplish that, and then the sky's the limit after that. They can make it look like a monster, it's cutesy, cartoony, realistic. I mean, I've had students make a catfish, a redfish, a monster looking, it's just, they're so creative and so different and so unique according to each student. And they love it because it's theirs, it's their creation, but they still learned the techniques and how to attach the extra pieces, the fins and the tentacles and whatever. So
Yeah,
it's fun.
That's awesome.
Paula's really good about organizing training in the summer, so we meet and talk about the skills that we're covering and
So you were able to talk to Brittni,
Yes.
Jonan, about where the students are when they leave primary school, so that she can kind of just pick back up and then go with the third grade there, and then you're able to tell her this is what we did in fifth grade, and so
yeah, and what does it look like when I cover the elements of art in first and second, and whether they, what skills do they have coming to third with them, and then.
yeah, okay, I love that. The collaboration is key for sure. Okay, well, before we get started on our middle segment here, let's talk briefly about how art is structured at primary school. So, how is that structured? They're home. Are they in their home room when they come?
They are in their home room, and they come to me once a week.
Once a week for about 40 minutes.
It's about 40 minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you see them weekly then, and all year this year.
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
That.
And then at intermediate, how's that structured?
It's different this year than it's ever been, and it's been an adventure because sometimes I have 2 homerooms at once. So think 45 kids in an art room with paint and water cups and all of the things. But we've really made it work, and I talked with the kids about how it's kind of up to them on what we get to do this year, depending on how they are with that many people trying to move around an art room and distribute supplies and all of those things. And I see them for 45 minutes. I rotate through 46 homeroom classes, sometimes 2 at a time, sometimes 1, and it's a 6-day rotation at intermediate school.
Oh, okay. So it's not like you see the same kids every Monday and then the same kids every Wednesday. No. Okay, so every 6 school days.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. All right, so now we're going to take a quick break, have a little fun. We're going to dive into some rapid fire questions. Some of these were submitted by students in the district, and these are just supposed to be really fun ways to kind of get to know our guests. Are you guys ready? As ready as you're going to be? Okay, so this is a question I always ask our guests. Tell us about one random object in your office or classroom that has a story behind it, and it cannot be a picture of family or friends. So you want to start, Tony? Or do any of y'all have an idea?
I have one.
Okay.
I have a tiny glass pig with wings because when I taught credit recovery at the high school, I had a new student come in, and he presented that to me one day after he had been there for a few months, and he said, my old school, they told me that I would succeed when pigs flew. And he brought me the little flying pig because he was succeeding. And he did graduate, and he did go on to the military.
Oh, so that has a story behind it, and it reminds you, kind of encourages
Yeah.
you. That is sad, but that is very encouraging still on a good
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, I bet it ended well.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you, Brittni? Do you have something?
It's hard to follow that up.
I know. All right, follow in.
Actually, I do. I have a karaoke machine in my office.
Oh, that's fun.
I brought it in during COVID when I was making videos for my kids because it has a sound effects button, and I thought it would just jazz up my videos. And it's still there. Sometimes I use, if you want to
That's awesome.
have a little,
That's cool.
little karaoke session, it's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Have you ever used it in the classroom?
Well, not now because we have the wonderful little microphone things that we wear around our neck, and the kids can hear us on the speaker that's installed in the ceiling. It's much fancier than my corded karaoke machine.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have the sound effects.
That's right. that makes it fun. All right, what about you, Jonan?
I do have a greeting card that a former student
Yeah?
from their artwork, and their mom brought it to me, and it had been turned into a greeting card, and so
Aw.
I kept that. Yes, it was
That's
a
awesome.
Valentine card.
And so all the kids that are graduating from Lumberton now, you taught them in primary school. So, I mean,
Yes.
they've all come through and...
I'm now teaching their children.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Not
I mean...
them, but former students' children. Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, so Here's the options: paintbrush, pencil, or clay. I already know what Miss Taylor's gonna say.
Yes, clay.
Paintbrush, pencil, or clay. Pick one. What would you pick?
Oh,
Jonan?
paintbrush.
Paintbrush,
Clay.
clay,
Paintbrush.
paintbrush. Awesome. I probably would stick with the pencil because I can write.
Yes.
Or
Also,
as
I taught
some
math.
could say, delete.
Delete.
Miss Morris, how do
Yeah.
I delete this line?
Oh yes,
Cute.
and today last night at the NHS inductions, I was at the National Honor Society inductions taking pictures, and the girl was talking, and she came up to Miss Hernandez, the sponsor, afterwards, and I was talking to Miss Hernandez, and she goes, "I'm really sorry, my voice glitched when I was up there." I was like, that is such a digital age child.
Yes.
Like, we would have said our voice cracked or, whatever,
Squeaked or-
squeaked
yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Yeah.
I just had a little glitch in my voice. I'm
cute.
sorry.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, when you need to delete it, you
That's
can
okay.
erase it with a pencil.
You would be
Yes.
sad in my classroom because my pencils don't have erasers.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. Only because I taught math, and so we
Yes.
always used pencil, you
Yeah.
know, and that was like a big deal
Yeah.
until you get older, and then I allowed them to use flare pens. See,
Oh,
I like
that's really
I like
cool.
coloring. Flare
Very
pens are
cool.
fun.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Okay, so what's your favorite color to work with? That's kind of a hard question, but what is your favorite color?
I like magenta, and my students like magenta.
Yes. Awesome.
Blue.
Blue?
I chose pink.
Pink.
It makes me happy.
Yeah. I'm a yellow person, but that's also something that makes me happy too. A lot of people think I like orange because I'm a big Texas fan, but I do like the shade of burnt orange.
Mhm.
But I'm not necessarily an orange person. No offense to the orange
It's
field.
okay.
But the real orange color is not my favorite, but I do love yellow. It's a happy color.
Yes.
All right, so morning or night person when it comes to creativity?
Oh,
What do you think?
100% night.
Really? Like
The later
you-
the better.
Really? Stay up and working on
Yeah, I might
projects?
start a project at midnight.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, not me.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm an old lady. Like,
Me too.
I'm sorry, I'm done.
Definitely.
What do you think?
Morning.
Morning? Yeah.
I'm a nighttime person. Anyone that goes through Silvercrest probably knows my house because my garage is always open and I'm the crazy lady that's out there painting. Like there's just paint everywhere and I'm always in the garage at night painting.
So you got the neighborhood watch going too then?
yeah.
Everybody's
See,
good.
I'm like, that's normal. That person walks their dog at 10:30 every night.
Yes, I love it.
Know that car.
All right, last question. What's your favorite piece of art that you've ever either created or like seen? Like you don't have to have even seen it, but favorite piece of art that you've created or that you just love. That's hard for an art teacher to say.
It
But
really is. I have a couple.
have you seen? Has anybody ever seen the Mona Lisa?
Me?
You
what-
have?
I have it.
Not
I have it
ever.
on my notes.
Oh,
Yes.
I want to go to
Yes.
France. So
It
bad.
was amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say the Mona Lisa or the Dale Chihuly glass art. The installations are just insane.
Where's that?
He has them all over.
Oh,
now.
okay.
I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And he has a ton of apprentices, and so.
Wow.
But I mean, they're from tons of. Not just museums, but he sells some,
Oh, okay.
and there are some in. I think it's Bellagio and.
In Las Vegas.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
What about you guys? Do you have any?
This was an art installation, so it wasn't actually a piece of art, but we went to see the King Tut exhibit in Dallas.
Uh-huh.
And when you went into the other part of the art museum, you walked through a kaleidoscope tunnel. And then when you got in there, they had changed all the light bulbs, and everyone turns black and white. Like, my husband had to make my daughter and I leave because you look around and there's no more color. Something with the light bulbs.
That's
Wow.
really
Yeah,
weird, but like
and he
it's
was
so
like, I could have
dramatic.
not gone through King Tut and just gone straight here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish we could do that for our students.
Like a
because
field
it
trip.
is absolutely, but like somehow I've looked up the light bulbs. It must be expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
But
sure
it's
the
the
art
coolest
budget.
thing.
That is
So
Yes,
I
'cause you
picked
see
something
black
like
and white.
kind of sentimental.
Yeah, that's good.
My brother is also a really amazing artist, and he's kind of opposite of me. I have like a very whimsical style, and he has just this amazing talent for drawing faces. And as a wedding gift for me and my husband, he drew one of our engagement photos and like large scale, and I have it framed and hanging in my house 14 years later, and it's just
wow.
I
That's
love
so
it.
cool.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
That's so cool. So that reminds me, one of my other friends that they took, this would be something I should have done. They took their engagement photo and had it, well, actually they didn't, it was a gift to them, but it's paint by number.
Oh, wow.
Or color by number, and they have it in their house,
Oh,
and
that's so fun.
it took like several years, but people who would visit them would color a
That is
section.
really cool.
That's the only way I would be able to
You
ever
could have
do
that
an
at your
art
wedding
work.
instead of
Color
a
by
color.
number. That's-
Yeah, that's
I
how it
guess.
started. That's how it started, but it was like very intricate. I mean, like it took them a long time, and when you would visit, you would just color, you could color in a few squares. You know, I was really
Take a
interesting. Yeah, I mean, these are all
It is.
great little ideas. I don't know how you do that, but I'm sure there's some program that could do that for you, right? I don't know.
Probably. Chat GPT.
Yeah. All right, so let's head back into some questions, and we'll finish up here. So, what do you guys hope students take away from their time in your class, even if they don't pursue art long term?
I hope they see that every student can be creative,
Mm-hmm.
and with all the different tools that they can use, find something that they feel very successful and know that, as I said, that they can be creative,
Mm-hmm.
even if that's not their favorite subject.
Yeah, that's cool. What about you, Brittni?
I want the art room to be a place that my kids walk into and they just feel like it's a safe space and everybody belongs there and they know I love them even whenever I'm fussing at them.
Yeah.
I want it to always feel that way for all of them because I truly think that teaching is a calling, and especially, art is one of those classes that it's like, I mean, I'm sorry, math and reading teachers, but kids don't come to school for math and reading.
Yeah, no. they
Our
usually-
class it's where they come because they feel like they belong there.
Mhm.
And it makes me feel a little bit emotional. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
Ew,
that's-
hormones.
yeah.
Anyway, I always want them to feel that way every time they come to my room.
Well, that's
So.
very authentic, and I think it's true. I want to know what Paula has to say, and then I have insight from just what I've done with students and seeing them in art. But what would you say?
But I concur with both of them, and I know I said it before, but building that self-esteem and letting them know that they matter and giving them a place to be successful in order to build that self-esteem so they understand how valued they are and, build that self-respect to carry into adulthood.
Yeah. Well, as an administrator, obviously I never taught art, but as an administrator, I can tell you art is a safe place for kids to take a mental break, because for some kids, the rigor of math and reading or science, social studies is very taxing on them. It's exhausting because some of them have difficulties to overcome. And so for me, and I can get emotional about this too, Brittni, is that I have seen art work wonders in behavior. I've seen kids who felt like they didn't have anything to offer see art as a place where they do have something to give. Ms. Taylor and I have worked a lot together on some special situations where kids who struggle to stay in a mainstream general education setting succeed in art, and all the way to our most advanced kids with high levels of GT and everything else. It's all over, and you'll see that. But they do, a lot of kids who don't have a place somewhere else find a place with art. And that has been one of my favorite things about in education, what art brings. And I will always be a proponent of keeping art it is so important. We talked about this with Jason Anderson when he was talking about music. It's the same, you have kids that find their niche in music, and you have kids that find their niche in theater. You have kids that find their niche. Sometimes they bleed over, and you might have those same kids that find their niche in music as in art. But I've seen it be such a game changer for so many kids. It helps them through that. And because a lot of kids aren't going to go home and do math problems to help themselves feel better, but they'll get their sketchbook out and they'll draw. And that brings down their anxiety, and that is a release for them. And so it's so important. Oh, I love it. That's why I think y'all are awesome. Okay, anyways, I don't know how you follow that, but it's like kind of a weird segue. But, well, no, this is actually a really good one. What role do you think arts play in developing a whole child? I mean, we can just expound on that a little bit, but you see it in the elementary stage. So where do you see the benefits on art education and working in with art in the classroom?
Well, as
for a
you
kid?
said, that it can help with behavior, but also when they don't feel like they're successful in another area, they can come into the art room and feel successful. And we talk a lot before they leave the classroom, and when a project is complete, I get them lined up, and I've been telling them, when I hang this in the hall, you can look at that and said I did my best.
And be proud.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we talk about that a lot. So it's not just finishing it real fast, what's next? It's actually thinking about what you want to do, making a plan, practicing, doing the final project. And then when it's displayed, you look at that and you know you did your best.
That's great. You guys have anything to throw in
Kind
there?
of what you said about, like, I mean, there's not the pressure of coming up with calculations in math or being a fluent
Passing a
reader,
test.
passing a test. The grade for art is showing up, following classroom expectations, and always trying your best. And I always tell my kids that it's just because your art looks different than theirs. If everyone's art looks the same, it would be so boring. And there's really no one right way to make art. And I think it helps kids to be more open-minded and seeing that people can have different opinions, and there can be more than one right way to do things. And whenever they see that, it helps build their self-confidence and their self-esteem, and it helps them to accept each other. And I think that it's just so important, especially today with emotional, mental health and all of those things. And I think it helps with all that.
Yeah.
It does. And as middle schoolers, we're trying to get them to start thinking about their future a little bit more and what they're going to do after school with a job, a career. And so creative problem solving is so essential. And so we all provide them with
The outlet.
to practice it. They need to know how to do it and then have multiple opportunities to practice creative problem solving, because they're going to be asked to do that in every area of their life for the rest of their life. They're going to have to think creatively and think outside the box to find a solution and think for themselves. So we provide a wealth of opportunity for them to do that and express themselves.
Yeah. I also think it's really cool because in the art classroom, you have kids that necessarily wouldn't be friends outside of art, but they see that they have a lot in common with other kids who are artistic like they are, and it forms bonds that way that you wouldn't
For
see
Right.
formed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's really cool. Okay, so what do you think parents in our community might be surprised to learn about art education? I'll tell you from this parent here, myself, is that the time that you actually get to have with the kids in elementary is very short. I mean, and do you still, at middle school, Paula, you still teach semester
Yes,
courses for
except-
6th grade?
Yeah, 6th and 7th.
6th and 7th, you're only with them for a semester.
Yeah.
That 6th, 7th thing just keeps popping up.
So I'm sorry. I told the kids I can't count anymore. I'm not counting.
Wait,
Yeah.
and today was the 67th? Was today the 67th?
Yeah.
I think it was
Or was it
yesterday.
yesterday? Okay,
All the
there-
kids
there was
knew.
some
We thought we were
debate
going to pull
between the
something on
kids.
them, and they all knew. So, yeah. But, you guys don't get a lot of time. It's not like a normal class where they're there every day for maybe hours of time or whatever.
Yes.
So that is something that is surprising for me as a parent to know that you
Right.
you
One
see
day a
them
week, and
one day
then
a
we were
week.
talking
Yeah.
about if there's a field trip or a program, which is
That's
amazing.
usually when we have
Assembly.
the band comes over to talk to the kids about signing up for band. If we do the house system at intermediate, and that would be
Pep rally.
during rotation
Yeah.
time, or parents do dentist appointments during that. And I totally understand
Yeah.
that. It's not a
course.
tested
Yeah.
subject, but it does. Whenever the kids are like, wait a second, I didn't even get to start painting this, and we're already moving on. Well, you were absent
Yeah.
2 classes in a row, and that was 3 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So-
think that is a very good point. That, I mean, yeah, even though they're not missing the core classes, which are very essential, they're still missing, and so then they get really upset because it's something they've been looking forward to. Yeah. All right. So if you could design a dream project with your students with unlimited resources, what would you do?
I think I'd do a city. Like, we have a wall up right now, and they did their Balloons Over Broadway second grade did, and my art students a few years ago did the backdrop, but I think if they could make the whole city, I think they would really enjoy that.
Yeah.
The building.
Like a
is
skyline?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's
That
cool.
would be awesome. I would love to have the VR goggles or access to them
Oh,
and
yeah.
take virtual tours of where whatever museum or
Art.
we wanted
That'd be
to. and
so
Like you
stuff.
go to
And then
Paris and
yes.
visit
go
different,
see
yeah.
them. Yep.
That's cool. That's really good.
Here I go back with my painting. I wish that I had an unlimited budget to buy all kinds of paints and brushes and canvases and easels, and I would love to just take the time, especially like with my 5th graders, like they're leaving and I would like to do something special with them, maybe paint like this beautiful landscape or cityscape, just like a really special piece of art that they could always have. Like I have some of my own projects that I made with my middle school art teacher. We did so much clay. Like she must have had a huge budget. Now that I'm like, wow. But my mom's like, hey, this vase, it's been in the back of the. I'm like, oh my gosh, my vase that I made in art class. This is so amazing. But just to have like this one special piece that they could kind of just like have forever. Like I wish
It would be like a painting with a twist kind of vibe.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
more like that.
That's fun. I think that would be great. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I just want to tell you guys, if you ever feel like you're less than because you're not a math or reading teacher or whatever, please, hopefully, what we've talked about today, I hope that you remember those key points because you're absolutely essential. Because even when you're not teaching art, you're also supporting other areas. And you talked about testing, and y'all are first pulled when it's testing season, and you need to be in there to offer those. I mean, it's just, you're such a team player, and I think you've had to be that way, but it's always something that's so refreshing from the administrative level. But I can't explain enough how important art has been to so many students, and with so many kids, it gives you the chance to, there's less pressure as you would have if a math or a science teacher or a reading teacher, that you get to really, if you have the time and your class isn't 40-something kids, you really get to know the kids and help them through other issues, and sometimes art is able to do that. And then they become, whenever you ask them, hey, who's a teacher on campus that is a really great, positive, and safe person for you to go to when you're having a tough time, they mention the art teacher. And so it's important. And I'm getting emotional. Thank you, Brittni. But it really is so great. And this time spending with you guys has been really great for me, and hopefully our listeners will feel the same way, that it's absolutely essential. And mom and dad at home, really foster that creative time with your kids and giving them opportunities to be creative and showcase their artistic skills. I would say don't suffocate those skills or tell them that's worthless or whatever. If you can, please let them have that outlet, because I think it's so positive. All right, well, that's a wrap on today's episode of Radar Reach. We hope you enjoyed hearing the stories that make our district and community so special. Remember, this is all about making an impact in the classrooms, our lives, and in the world. You can find us on all the podcast platforms, so be sure to subscribe and share this episode with others in our community. And join us next time as we continue to reach out and share more Raider stories. Until then, let's stay connected, stay inspired, and let's keep making an impact. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.